Welcome to episode one of the Get Buff with Rates podcast. So, what I wanted to cover today was just it's a little bit about motivation, but also just about navigating the end of the year. I think a lot of us often forget that this time of year can be really lonely for a lot of people. Whether you're just missing family members, missing home, missing your friends, or perhaps you're going through a tough time, I think the Christmas period especially can really feel like a isolating period. And it's okay to feel like that. I don't think you need to feel guilty that you may not feel the same as how other people feel. If you're not excited around this period of time, that's absolutely okay. So I suppose this episode is really just going to focus on that and how we can make this period of time not feel so isolating and not make it feel so, I don't know if depressing is the right word, but how we can just make it feel better. So as we do get to the Christmas period, I think some of the self care activities that I like to do just to make the time not feel so depressing is I like to have a routine. So, starting your day and knowing what you're going to do that day really helps. And I love a slow morning. I know for a lot of people, that's just a concept that is completely wild, but I think until you try it, you don't realize how beneficial it could be. So if that means waking up 30 minutes earlier, so be it. Just waking up, not going on your phone. The first thing I think I do almost every morning is I go on my phone, I check up on my clients, I look at inquiries, I open Instagram, just responding to messages, and I'm doing that as my first thought. That is such a stressful thing to do because you're almost in this like scarcity mindset where you feel like you must do that the instant you open your eyes. So, for the last week or so, I've really been focusing on okay, I'm going to go brush my teeth, have a shower, etc., make a coffee before I look at my messages. I'm not saying I've succeeded every time, and that's okay. But by doing that, I can feel the difference in my cortisol and anxiety levels. The way that I'm just opening up my phone after I've taken a moment to actually really wake up. Because also, I'm doing myself a disservice if I am responding to all these messages before I'm even awake and have time to process things. I'm not going to be answering to the best of my ability. Or I might look at that message half an hour later and be like, oh no, I wish I had said this, or I forgot to put X in. That's just my personal experience. So, the first thing, have a routine, set 30 minutes, an hour, whatever you want it to be in the morning, just to slowly wake up. Go outside, feel the fresh air on your face as you drink that morning tea or coffee. It makes a world of difference, honestly. And then the second thing I tend to do in my routine is I then will have meetings, a work block. So that might mean different things for different people depending on your schedule. And then I've been implementing my workout at lunchtime. And the reason I've been doing this in this London winter is because at the moment daylight is kind of gone by like 3:30. So if I get my workout done earlier in the day, number one, it's done. The endorphins are going. I'm flooded with all of these feel good feelings. And then also by the time it's dark, because I feel like our brain plays tricks on us, it might only be 3:30, 4 o'clock. But because we think it's dark outside, it feels like it's so much later. So that's another thing in my routine that I think has really helped. And yeah, and then I carry on with my work block. But I think having that routine, it kind of stops you from like spiraling. So if you're already feeling a bit down, not feeling the best, struggling just at this time, that routine stops you from spiraling. Another thing that I think is really helpful is make friend dates. You don't have to have the biggest circle. You don't have to have thousands of family members. I myself have a really small family that I absolutely cherish. But there's also people that maybe have lost family members, aren't as close with their family, or perhaps they're just in a whole different country. So having those people around them isn't as easy. But that doesn't mean you can't spend time with other close ones. Go out, go meet people. I've really been prioritizing spending time with my friends. And I think as we kind of delve into the end of the year, people are busier, people have lots going on, the days feel shorter. Some people just can't be bothered, but really make it your intention to see people. Like, don't isolate yourself and spend time on your own because that's only going to amplify those feelings. So, make a coffee date, and literally, if you see your friend for literally less than 30 minutes, make the effort to go do that. And I think this is also important as looking at other people's well being and health. You might not know how your friend is doing or what they're going through at that time. So try to make that effort because the chances are most people don't share their innermost thoughts and feelings. They might with their best friend, but the majority of the time, we all seem to downplay things or make things feel like they're not as important. This is also a time of year where a lot of people who are suffering with depression, etc., do take their own lives. And I think it's just important to keep that in the back of your head that everyone's well being, the people you care about, a simple phone call or meeting them for a coffee, breakfast, lunch, whatever it is, really try to make the effort because that one interaction could completely change how they feel that day, even that week. So, really try to make the effort where you can. I'm not saying spread yourself thin and have a crazy social calendar when you know you're not going to be able to cope with that. But I'm just saying the small things really matter. And then I guess another thing that's really important at this time of year, just to make sure you're not feeling isolated down the dumps, is set some goals. And I know you're going to say, Reets, you're crazy. It's the end of the year. Goal setting is for January. And I'm going to challenge you here. What makes January as a day any different to today? Yes, okay, it's a different date on the calendar. But as a day, what makes it any different? What makes January the 1st any different to today? So, if there's no difference in those 2 days, why do we put so much importance on the 1st of January? I quite like the idea of a New Year's resolution. I like the idea of spending a day thinking, okay, these are some things that I'd really like to work on. or these are some things I'd really like to change. So, as a goal setting opportunity, I think that's great. But there's also no reason that you can't set goals on any other day. So if you're in a bit of a funk, struggling to have some motivation, not feeling your utmost best, that is what makes it the perfect time to set some goals. Just that one thing. Sitting down, pen and paper on your laptop, on the notes app in your phone, whatever works for you. Sit down and make some goals. Start with the short term. Okay, so start with, what would I like to achieve this week? When we start small, it's less overwhelming. So even if all you do is set some goals for this week, you are going to feel so much better because you're uplifting your own energy. But if you can, go a little bit further. Okay, those are my goals for this week. Why don't I set myself some goals for 2 weeks' time? A month? 3 months? If you want to make long-term goals, go for it. But short-term goals are just as important. Another thing you can do is gratitudes. And I push this one with my clients constantly. And I suppose at some point people are like, Rita, I can't be grateful for anything more. But yes, you can. Yes, you can. Be grateful for the small things. If you take a moment out of your day just to be grateful, sit in that moment, and realize all the things that you have been blessed with, energetically, you're uplifting yourself. When you exist in this place of gratitude, you just attract more blessings. You don't have to take my word for it, just give it a go. But we spend so much time wanting things, which is fine, it's okay to want things. But then sometimes when we get those things, we forget to be grateful. We forget to come from a place of gratitude, and we take things for granted. When you take a moment just to feel grateful for something, it's like you come from a deep place of happiness. When we're constantly moving on to the next, we're almost in this place of stress, in this place of just like constantly not stopping. And I think things like that can really cause anxiety, can cause you excess stress. They're just not feelings that you want to indulge in. So I'm not saying you need to sit there for like an hour and say, oh my God, I'm so grateful for absolutely everything in my life, which you should be, but that's not the point here. Just take a moment and write down 3 things you're grateful for. And they can be such small things. You could be grateful for your bed. You could be grateful for your pets, your friends. Grateful for absolutely anything. And I think when you come from that place of gratitude, there's just this whole shift in your mindset. Anyway, give it a go. And then I think another thing that really helps is, I know you've heard it again and again, but self-care. Self-care can mean a million different things. And I'm not talking about the really superficial, go get your nails done, go to your hair appointment, because those things do matter. Because when you do those things, this is the point. when you do those things and you look after you and you prioritize you, you are mentally affirming to yourself that yes, I am worth it. I am worth these things. So when it comes to self-care, it's not about, oh, okay, I'm just going to go sit down and have a face mask. Or I'm just going to go book myself a massage. The activity doesn't matter. What you do in that moment doesn't matter. What matters is that you are affirming to yourself that yes, I am worth it. Sounds like a L'Oreal advert. But you're affirming to yourself subconsciously that I am good enough. I deserve these things. By prioritizing myself, I am putting myself first. And this one's really important for mums, especially. You spend your whole day prioritizing this teeny tiny little human. Maybe they're not teeny tiny anymore, but you spend your whole day prioritizing someone else. And of course, that's your job. But when you do that, you sometimes forget that, hang on, I need to pour back into myself so I can continue to look after this teeny tiny little human. And this isn't always just like a thing for mums. This is a thing for everyone, but in just different aspects. So there's lots of people that might be carers for their parents, or just people that are constantly taking care of other people. Or sometimes you're just lost in the hustle and bustle of life that you forget to look after you. I feel like there's definitely people that I know that have always perhaps judged me a little bit, because I am high maintenance. I might come across low maintenance, but I definitely am high maintenance. So I always used to get my nails done. I now have a really bad allergy to the products I use, so can't do that anymore. But you would never see me without my nails done. You would never see me without my eyebrows done. I would invest in myself and get my filler and my Botox and get my laser appointments. And people always think, okay, someone that does all those things is being very superficial. But the point is, that person who does those things, invests in themselves, is not, they may be superficial, but the point of doing those things is not being superficial, but it's taking care of yourself and investing in you. Those things matter. You want to actively take steps to invest in you. And that can literally be as simple as, what am I putting into my body? Let me nourish my body. Let me go for that walk. Let me move my body. Let me go do that gym session. Let me have whatever it is. Investing in yourself, just reminding yourself that yes, I am a priority. Yes, I deserve these things. And yes, I am so, so worth it. Anyways, just some food for thought. I hope you enjoyed episode 1 of the Get Buff with Reets podcast.